Hi there, beautiful souls watching. Thank you. I'm Gabrielle, retired medium in Germany, and I like to share some of my otherworldly experiences and insights. This one is about walking the St. James Path, which goes through France and Spain. And that's a funny story, more or less, because I'm kind of a couch potato. I love being in nature, but I don't like hour-long walks and things like that. So, really, hiking on the St. James Path was not on my list. I never even thought about that. And after my mediumship trainment, I was kind of being busy inside of myself with, well, I want to show the spirit world that I really want to do something and not just talk like a talking head, love and light and blah, blah, blah. I don't know. I just wanted to really act upon, well, my knowledge and my inner kind of call, to put it like that. So that was working inside of me, and now I know if you start being busy with this theme inside of you, you're going to attract that. Because that's only just the natural thing, like law of attraction. If you are going inside and sit inside with a question or a theme, it's like the famous Sufi poet Rumi said, what you seek is seeking you. That's also kind of law of attraction. So I had this theme working inside of me, and then suddenly um, somebody contacted me, a friend from Brazil, and she asked me whether I would like to walk the St. James Path with her in Europe. The last part in Spain, and I was kind of startled because that's out of my comfort zone. And I said, no, sorry, I mean, surely great, but I'm not into it. And then some time later, it came the second time. My own sister asked me on the phone once, I and my husband, we are planning to walk on the St. James Path, and would you like to join us? And that was the second time, but I didn't feel like going. And I said, no, sorry, nice offer, but I'm not into it. And, well, sometime later, again, it came for the third time. They do it like that. If you don't listen, first you get a little nudge, then it gets a push, and if you don't listen at all, sometimes it gets like kind of a sledgehammer situation. So sometime later, I was asked the third time, really like in the fairy tale, the magic three. And I thought, whoa, there it comes again. So maybe it's meant for me, even if I don't like it. And I started to think about it. And then I said to the third person, was another Brazilian friend. And she wanted to join with the first one that asked me. And she asked me whether I would join them, the two of them. So third time, okay, I got that, and I started thinking about it more positively, and I said, okay, so here's a chance to show if I'm really serious about that, and leaving my comfort zone and going for 3 weeks on the St. James Path. Although I had kind of prejudices, some famous people, also a German author was walking there, and then he made a book about it later on, and everybody was kind of into that hype. And I thought, well, the path will be full of people walking and hiking and running around, and I'm not sure whether I want that. But okay, it happened. We found a date, we bought the flights, and we met in a town in Spain to start from there to walk on the path of St. James. And I had no time to really prepare. So, one day, more or less, before the journey started, um, I was collecting and packing things, and I was looking in the internet for a list of what do you need to take with you. And there was a lot of advice about special socks to not get blisters, and special creams and treatments for your feet. And I never cared about my feet that much. So I had some kind of wandering or hiking boots, but they weren't perfect, as I found out later, because the sole was much too soft. In the beginning of the path, there were many pointed stones on the path, and I felt every stone through the sole of the of my boots. And while I was preparing for the journey next day, it suddenly happened to me again. Things happened to me um, that Mary Magdalene appeared, more or less, in my astral view or my auric field. And I wasn't even religious like that or Catholic. I had been evangelic, but I exited the church already years ago and found my own connection to what I call the divine beyond churches and religion. And I was just astonished. Why is Mary appearing for me, and what does she want? So I acknowledged her and I said, "Hello, thank you for coming. What is it that you want?" And she said a few things to me. I mean, what I got from that was more or less, she said, "I will gift you that you will not get any blisters on your St. James path." I didn't get that because at that point I didn't know how important that was, but later on I found out. And that was kind of a funny message or a bit weird. And then she said another thing. She said, "You will walk 3 weeks. 1 week for the outside, 1 week for the inside, and the last week for spirit." Okay, whatever that means. So I flew the next day to Leon in Spain, and I met my friends there, and we started. And we had the idea, well, our pilgrimage does not have to be that hard, walking around with 8 kilo backpack and things like that. And we found out that there was some kind of taxi service. You could give them your big backpack, the heavy load, and they transported it to the next station, which you defined before, and brought it to some kind of bed and breakfast or hostel there. And you walk the path with light luggage and free. And when you reach in the evening the bed and breakfast, your heavy luggage is already there. So we decided our pilgrimage can be easy, and we don't have to make it a hard hiking job or something like that. And so we walked on the path, and in the first week it was really like, I got it at the end of the last week. It was really working for the outside because I was so annoyed by all the people on the path. And I saw these men running like, sporting, and they didn't even pause a minute to look at a flower or at a butterfly. And I got kind of angry with them because I was judging, and I said, "Wow, they're not getting anything of the spiritual thing around the path. They're just doing it like a sport exercise, and they're not even seeing a butterfly or a flower." And in the evenings at these kind of bed and breakfast next stations, you always meet again some of the people you met during the path, during hiking. You met them in the evening in the restaurants where they eat and tell their stories and drink and laugh and whatever. And some of the men were showing their feet full of really big blisters, and then I started to get it. Wow, I'm not good prepared. I don't have the right or the best boots for that. And still, I have no blisters. Even my two friends had blisters, although they were totally prepared with everything. And it kind of dawned on me, wow, there's a deeper meaning to all of that. That's an interesting message Maria gave to me. Well, let's see. So the second week, we were hiking on St. James Path. Um, it happened that I was really more inside of myself, because if you walk with other persons, you always are babbling and talking, and then you can't really focus and go inside. So it happened a few times that they were faster than me at that day, and I was kind of slow. I didn't know why. So I stayed a little, sorry, I stayed a little behind, and I was more on my own with myself. So I had a lot of insights in this second week, and it was dawning on me that I was judging from the first week about all the others outside, and they're not doing it right and things like that. But who am I to judge? So, okay, that was that. And then the third week started, and it had some very interesting things happening. There was a woman that I saw several times on this path, and I met her again in the third week, and she looked to me like Brazilian, because I have Brazilian friends. You know, the color of the skin and the features. And just in the third week, when I met her again in some restaurant, pausing and having a coffee or a tea, I went to her and I asked her, "Where are you from? I have some kind of familiar feeling. Are you from Brazil?" And she said, "No, I'm from South Africa." So that was it. But we started talking, and then she told me that she's on a kind of mission. She had health problems. She had a facial paralysis. Half her face was not able to be moved, and it was giving her a lot of pain. And she wanted to do this walk on the St. James Path to get some kind of answer or healing, or at least a solution and understanding why she has this health problem and so on. And by impulse, I told her, I'm a medium and I'm trained in giving healing energy. If you want, I can put my hands on you. Let us just go behind the building where nobody is watching, and if you want, I can give you some healing energy. And we went behind the building. She agreed, she wanted it, and she sat down and closed her eyes, and I put my hands on her shoulders and moved to some other corporal areas where I was sent to put my hands on by my guides. And suddenly, in the middle of the whole healing energy procedure, I noticed that she was going like this. And I looked and opened my eyes, and I saw that she was sobbing. And at first I thought, oh, have I done anything wrong? What's happening? And then my guides told me, no, she's inside a process. Just continue and finish, and everything is fine. So I just carried on, and after another 5 minutes or so, I finished, and I just left her for herself alone, but I was staying close, and I left her to open up the eyes and come back totally 100% again to the place, to her body, in her time. And after a while, she opened the eyes and she just looked at me and said, "Thank you. Now I understand my trauma." And the sobbing was the release of grief and pain. And I don't have to understand that because it was for her. I don't need to know anything or understand anything. I'm just the facilitator. I'm the channel, the medium, the intermediate to transport some healing energy through me into her system. But she seemed really happy and relieved, and she thanked me, and we went our ways. So that was interesting, and I felt good because I felt I was of use, although I didn't get the whole thing, but I don't have to. Okay. And then there was another moment where I was staying behind my friends and was walking alone, and suddenly I had this very clear image as if Maria was walking in front of me, and she took with her hand every one of my feet and placed it on the ground, kind of securing my path. And I started crying just because of this overwhelming caring and love and gift that I'd never felt before, and I hadn't even expected that. And I didn't even believe in Maria before that. But now I know she's real. That's why I also know that Jesus is real. And the best thing that happened at the end of the St. James Path, we reached the, I don't even know the name. What's the town called? Santiago de Compostela. That's the town where more or less the big church is, and where all the walkers and hikers from the St. James Path meet in the end, and they assist the ceremonies in the church. And there's this big swaying vessel with I don't know the English word, this typical thing they burn in Catholic churches, sometimes it's heavy smoke and just a bit too much. And I just, after 3 weeks of nature, I just couldn't stand these narrow streets and stone everywhere and all the houses, and just too much after all this wonderful, wide open nature. So we had 3 days left because we came through quite early. We allowed ourselves also to take for short distances the bus sometimes, but the last 200 kilometers to Santiago de Compostela, we really walked on our own feet. And with these 3 days left, because we came there early and our flight back home was 3 days after we arrived in Santiago. So we had the idea, why not go with a bus to the coast, to this place called Finisterre, which means the end of the land. And it is said that St. James arrived there by boat and went this path to spread the gospel or the word. And we went there by bus, and the bus was driving all along these little fjords and beaches, and it was a hobbling road like that, and after some time with the heat and the sun, we got kind of dizzy, and I was already kind of dozing away in the bus. And suddenly, in front of me, appeared St. James and Mary. And I still had not understand why Mary appeared, why she appeared before I did this hiking on the St. James path, and why she's now appearing together with St. James. That he's appearing to me made sense because the path is called after his name, so that makes sense to me. And I didn't know why they were appearing in front of me, and they looked at me without saying a word. And then they suddenly put each one a hand on my shoulder, and I felt kind of honored. And at the same time, that I've got some kind of task or mission which I could not put into words. It just felt like that. And then, of course, my little ego was scared. Oh, will I make it? I don't know what it is. I don't even understand it. I don't get it. How can I finish a task that I don't know and I don't get? And they just smiled at me, Maria and St. James, and they said, "You will get it when the time is right, and you will make it. So be happy. All is good." Okay. Didn't know what to do with that and what to make of that. Still trying to find out what they kind of gave me as mission or task. And because I was wondering about the appearance of Mary, when we came back to Santiago de Compostela, to our home by bus after that day on the beach in Finisterre, I started researching in the internet, and I suddenly found an old legend that Mary followed St. James on the St. James path to help him spread the word, the gospel. And there's in Finisterre even some kind of strange stone that looks a little bit like a petrified boat. And the legend tells that Mary even turned her boat into stone so that there was no way back but only forward. And she walked the path together with St. James, more or less. And then it made sense to me why she appeared to me before the hiking on the St. James path, and during it, and at the end. So that's my story of doing what I would have never done otherwise, because I'm not into hard hiking and things like that. I'm more kind of a lazy couch potato, because I can have all the adventures inside. I don't need to go anywhere now, I know that. But still, sometimes some places attract me and I go somewhere and have some different experiences. So just to open up your horizon and make clear that there are a lot of helpers and positive light beings from all the different realms that want to assist us on our journey to find out what it is we want to bring to this world, into our life, what it is we want to realize on our soul's path or whatever. So I leave you with that, and Mary, is telling me to give you a special blessing of Mary, all the Marys, Mary Magdalene and Mother Mary, and there are other Marys as well. This is a group consciousness. But she is the one stepping forward and blessing you now this time. So be blessed, dear souls, with the light and love of Mary. Thank you for watching. Have a good time. Bye.